Hello and welcome to this beard clipper video. Now in this video I'm going to show you how I went about making the Rogan's bar kit from 4Ground, the awesome MDF manufacturer. Now I've absolutely no idea, as I stand here, if this is still available. I should probably have had a look. 4Ground went out of business and I managed to pick up this and another couple of their awesome kits in the sale, in the fire sale. So there'll be a couple of these videos coming out over the coming months, hopefully, as I get to them. But these pre-painted kits are absolutely superb. So I hope you enjoy the video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I do reply to every single one of my comments. So yeah, if you do comment, you will get a reply from me. I do hope that this maybe inspires you to go out and do some hobbying of your own. If you don't feel like you're all that crafty, then these pre-painted kits, can be a really good way of spicing up your tabletop without really requiring very much effort, as you'll see from this video. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again at the end.
So quite a long time ago, when 4Ground was going into administration, though I think that they are still being made, I'm not sure if it was a tax dodge, whatever, I ordered 3 sets from them. One of them was the Rogan's Bar and Bunkhouse collection, and I think to get myself back into making things, I'm going to have a go at this. So I've just taken the, cut it open, but I've not looked at it. I've only cut open the actual box. What I've got is I've got the Rogan's Bar. This is pre-painted, which I've not done before, so that's going to be interesting. So I've got Rogan's Bar, and then what I've also got is the bar add-on, which is the Bunkhouse. So I'm going to start off by looking at Rogan's Bar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the instructions, if there are any. I hope there are. And make a start. So let's have a look at this. So we have some, these are some windows that say Rogan's Bar on them, which is pretty cool. And we have a little colour booklet, which is also cool, with a load of, cut these out and glue them in place using PVA. So that's really good. So we've got those, a load of gambling signs and posters and some artwork. Of course, what you can do is print out your own, however you want. So I'm just looking to see if there's step numbers and how easy this is. Aha, so this is the first one. Before assembling parts, ensure you understand these instructions. So PVA glue or another suitable adhesive, sharp modelling knife, and sanding. Rubber band clamp, it says, to clamp things together. So anyway, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to have a quick look through this, see if I can identify the parts, and then I'll actually try and film all of this. I think I need to get back into doing some hobbying properly, so I'll try and film it all. Not sure whether that'll be today or whether I'll just read the instructions and look at the steps. So 4G difficulty rating for this model kit is 5. It is not a toy. This is not meant for those under 14 years. There we are. So yeah, so I'm going to have a flick through the this little baggie here, have a look at the parts, see if I can identify things, and I might make a start tonight, or I might leave it until another night. But yeah, I need to get back into it, don't I? Well, I did look at this last night, but I was way too tired to do anything, so I just had a quick look, found out that it's actually going to be pretty good, I think. It looks okay, and then put it away so that I could look at it when I was a little bit less tired. So the instructions are pretty clear. We've got some very clear numbering on the pictures. You can see that middle bun there is supposed to be AB, and then we've got A3, A1, A2, A5 and A4. And if we have a look on the sprue, you can see there, that is part AB. So that's really, really clear. And then I've got the other parts here, A1, A3, and then A2, A4 and A5. So yeah, so what you need to do is just pretty much a traditional MDF kit. So get your sharp knife, and from the back side you can really easily see where it's being held in, and then just very gently push against it, and you can see just how easily that popped out there. Very little pressure needed. One pretty cool thing that I've found, or one annoying thing there, is, oh actually that's a DR3 that has a number actually on it. So I've accidentally pushed that through, which was a bit silly. I shouldn't have done that. That was accidental, and that's put me off a bit. But one thing I have noticed, which is quite cool, is there's actually a little bit of there's a sprue tool they give you. So if we look here, we have a little pointed sprue tool, and that's going to be really useful for getting out small details, and it's quite sharp, so yeah, if you do that. So anyway, that's part AB. That sits like that. Like I say, I've accidentally knocked one through, but that should be alright. We're then going to need to get the rest of the parts out, A1 and A3, and then some of the green ones. And these pop really easily, so that's nice. And then when we've got all our parts, what we'll do is we will look at gluing them together. So I will continue to remove the parts, and then when I come to the assembly step, I will turn the camera back on and show you how that goes. Well, it should always dry fit. That's just dry fitted together, and that went together really nicely. So what I'm going to do now is take it apart and probably fail to get it to glue together as sweetly again. So I've got some PVA glue on this, on my little like dinner plate that I do hasten to add. I did buy especially for this purpose. We're going to just put some PVA along the joints, not too much, don't want to completely overwhelm it, but enough so that it is actually going to create a bond. And we'll do it along these sides, we'll do it along all the sides, because I'm going to be putting it together in one go. And you'll notice that I am putting it on top of these little nubs here, which do go into the side of the walls. And for this particular one, what you're putting on here, the colour goes to the outside, because there is actually more that will line the inside of this building. So this is my first ever go on a pre-painted kit, and the first proper real 4Ground kit I've had. So it's a learning curve for me, this. So anyway, we'll get all this glue on, and then I'll do the assembly step, and then clamp it and leave it overnight. Because you don't rush this. I'm not in a rush for this building. I'm doing this to get myself back into hobbying. I have a huge 4Ground kit to build. The whatever it is, the big multi-story inn pub thing. So I almost pulled that out, but I realised that's probably a little bit too much to do for your first time back hobbying, where you kind of lost a bit of your mojo. Anyway, so I've done that. So what I'm now going to do is put the glue on the other tabs on the walls. There we are. So let's see if this will go together as sweetly as it did when I did the dry fitting. Well, there we are. I am going to need to clamp it, which I will do off camera because that's going to get a bit fiddly, and I'll bring it back and show it later when it's clamped. But you can see that went together really quite nicely, and this kit is impressing me so far. Well, I elected to go without the clamps. It's just a bit too big for my normal clamps there. My metal clamps are a bit too heavy, so what I've decided to do is go for a little bit of weight. So I'm using these squares to hold all of the walls square, and then I've put some more weight on top just to make sure it all sits down and doesn't bow out. And yeah, hopefully that's going to be enough. So I'll give that a good few hours to dry before I come back to it. But that's looking pretty good to me so far. I think that we're onto something there. Well, it's the next morning, so let's see how well this is stuck together. and see if I get any time today to do more than this. Not bad. I need to seat that corner a bit better, but this one's done alright. So just a little bit more glue needed in there, maybe even, dare I say it, some super glue and a bit of a clamp like that, and that should then resolve that. So I'll do that now, leave that to dry, and then the next step is getting together the inners. So you can see these are the inner parts and they're glued on the inside. So yeah, so I'll seal that. As I say, just need a little bit of glue on that to hold that in place. Get the next pieces together, and I'll bring you back when I get to that, whenever that will be. It might be a bit later today, hopefully. Finally back to this after a bit of a break. So the next step is to get B2, which is this bit, and then B3, B4, and B5, and B1. So we've got B1, we've got B2, B3, B4 and B5. So it's all these things together. And what you're going to do is we're going to take this side bit off, and then we're going to pop out each of these, and then they go actually inside like this to and it actually tells you the order. So do B1 first, then clamp B2, then clamp B3, then clamp B4, and then finally do that there. So it does show you the order in which you're going to do them, and then slide B5 down in the middle, and that should work. So I'm going to work through these next steps. I will get these popped out, and then I'll probably turn the camera back on when I'm actually going to start gluing them in, just to show, or at least dry fit them, just to show how that works. And then I'll clamp them using one of my many clamps. It does show using closed pegs, which is obviously another option. So yeah, so I'll get these popped out and then bring it back when I come to gluing them in place once I've done some dry fitting. Well, that went together really nicely. I've not cut B5 out yet because it's the last one to go in, but I have dry fitted all the other pieces, and it's quite obvious the order that they need to go in, because as you can see here, for example, that kind of like marries up like that. So what I'm going to do now is glue it in place. So for that, I've got just some normal PVA on my plate, just out of shot, and I'm going to put a thin coat over the bit that's going to be touching it's going to actually be up against the outer wall. So I think that's going to be useful. And you don't need much glue for PVA. Actually, more glue sometimes means it doesn't dry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put some on the sides, which are going to end up being butted against other things. So that will be on the wall floor, and then the other walls will impact there. So then we can slide that in and down, and then get a clamp or two or three. This is why I have so many clamps. And then what we'll do is we'll put this one in next, because this is one we need to go in next. So we'll do the same thing. And I'll work my way around, and then when they're all on, I will then leave it for a day to dry and come back potentially tomorrow and do the next bit. I've not done as much on this as I thought I would, mainly for tourney reasons. Been crazy busy on that. But this evening I didn't want to work, so I've made time to do some hobbying. Fed up of staring at a computer, frankly. So yeah, so I'll get the rest of this done, which will basically be what you've just seen, and I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. Well, I've just spent an enjoyable evening. The enjoyable part was listening to a Wild West podcast, and the not enjoyable part was attempting to put this together. But I've managed to do it, so I've got the doors in, and they do open and shut, as you can see. Bit of a pain in the backside, to be honest. I did actually manage to destroy the bottom part of this, where the door kind of goes into a little hole, but I managed to save it, which I'm very pleased with. And I've also put the porch on top, as you can see. That took me a couple of hours of kind of annoyance and just chilling out with whiskey. It's nice to get back to it and have a little bit of progress. The next thing that I'm going to need to be doing is doing the windows. So we've got some, I've got some clear windows with some pictures on that I'm going to need to cut out very carefully using super glue, and I'm still not feeling very well, so I'm not going to get stuck into that today. And obviously, as you can see, I've only done part of the windows here. This side I've still got the frames to be putting in place as well. But yeah, at least I've made a little bit of progress on that, and I've managed to get past the thing that was really concerning me, which was doing the doors. It was fiddly as all hell, but it has been done. So yeah, just take your time. It's a bit of an annoying project, but I want to get it finished, so I'm going to keep cracking on with that. Maybe spend a little bit of time every evening this week just doing a little bit. It's so good to finally be feeling a little bit better, such a relief. And so this morning what I've been doing is the next little steps on this build, just before work. So as you can see, we've got the windows. They are printed with some I think it says with the name of the bar, or bar and something or other, and then these really super fine details. I mean, this is what I'm finding. Everything in this is very fine. You have to glue one on each side and then cut around the edge. And this is one where I have sandwiched the plastic in between the two. So yeah, just working through on that, and then they all get stuck into the actual building. And yeah, now I'm really starting to enjoy this this build. I'm hoping to get it finished very quickly. It is very fiddly. It is not simple. It's not for beginners, I wouldn't have said. But if you have the patience and you're up for it, then I'd recommend it, to be honest. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Just making a little bit more progress this morning before work, and I've got the signs in, as you can see. And what I'm now looking at doing is the step here to put like around the edge and the frame or what have you, and the layer of head. And what I have noticed, I'm just going to zoom in, is that the numbers are actually incorrect, it looks like, on the instructions. So this calls for RF7, RF8, RF11 and RF12, but you can see that on here, I've actually already popped out RF5 and RF6 are what they're calling 7 and 8, and 11 and 12 is actually 9 and 10. Don't know why that is. They're also, these pieces up here, they're described as 9 and 10, and they're actually 8 and 7. So there's just a little bit of a confusion on the sprues if you're looking at that, but it's not such a big thing that it shouldn't be relatively obvious how it works, but I thought I would just highlight that. But yeah, I'm making some really good progress, really enjoying this now. It's a wonderful kit, really nice, really gone together well, and yeah, I'm not far off done now, I don't think, on this. And then I do have the bunkhouse, so the second layer, which goes in between the ground floor and the roof. So, and also has the steps up the side. So I will be I'll be making that straight away as soon as I finish this. So yeah, hopefully get this done this week. I've finished putting this together. The last thing that is drying right now is just the final bit of the boardwalk. And yeah, that's gone together really nicely. I did make a little mistake with the. I was supposed to mount these on some wood. You can see here the backing bit that I didn't do, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change it. So yeah, so really happy with how that looks. Pre-painted is absolutely awesome. It looks well. It still probably needs a little bit of something along this bottom. It's a bit clean, so I might mount this onto a board and do a little bit of terrain around it. But yeah, other than that, pretty happy. These actually go on the front here, so yeah, so I think they just need a little bit of roughing up or a little bit of weathering. The other two are inside, and the steps and what have you. So what I'm going to do now is work on the add-on, the Dead Man's Hand, Rogan's Bar add-on, which is the bunkhouse. So yeah, I'm going to get that open, have a look at it, and see whether I can get that built. But yeah, really pleased to have cracked on with this, and be so close to finished. Well, these have been a complete and utter total pain. So I did the other ones fine for the main building, obviously, but these have really proven to be very hard. They're all over the place. They're not well shaped, and I mean, I did have the problem with this one that came out of the packet completely squished. But still, I'm not entirely sure whether this is going to work and whether I'm going to be able to get these windows into the property or not without much struggle. But I'm going to give it another. Going to keep going. It's also not stuck down properly. The super glue hasn't held very well. It's just turned out to be a real pain and a real struggle. But it's pretty much coming up towards the end of this build. It's pretty much the last thing that's needed. As you can see, the rest of this has been put together, so all I need to do is put these windows in and then I'm done. So I really do need to get this working. So I'm going to keep trying, but yeah, they're just proving. I mean, I don't know if you can see that's basically lifted off entirely, and yeah, it's been a bit of a pain. I want to throw it away, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep trying. If it doesn't work, if they don't glue on properly, then maybe I will fashion some of my own windows without the frames and just put those in, or maybe I'll just do it without any windows and never mind. So I do have a backup plan. It's not going to ruin the whole project, but yeah, that has proven to be very, very fiddly. And I've just been sat for the last 40 minutes, can't believe it's been that long, cutting out all of these little posters which are going to go on the outside of Rogan's bar. And I'm just at the last couple, and I thought, you know what, I really should flip the camera on to record that and show how I'm doing it. So I've got my smallest safety ruler, and as I always say, a safety ruler is one of the most important things you can buy, because when you're doing something this detailed and this close, the normal ruler won't hold the thing you're cutting, which is one thing, and also the knife could easily slip and slice you, which you don't want. So yeah, just using my normal hobby knife and my safety ruler, and I've got all of these cut out now, and this is going to be the last one. And then I'm going to work out how I'm going to glue it on. Ideally, you don't use PVA for this because it causes it to curl, it doesn't grab. What I probably will do is see if there's some Pritt stick, you know, like the glue stick that you have for your kids. I'm sure we've got some. And then once I've put everything on, then I will put a layer of varnish, matte varnish over the whole thing. But we shall see. At the moment, I'm just happy that I've decided to get this last bit finished. This is the last thing for this build, is to get these done. So yeah, I will get these posters all cut out, and then when I get to doing the gluing, I'll bring you back again, and that will wrap this entire project up. And that was the last one. There we are. I popped out just now and bought some glue sticks. So what I'm going to be able to do is stick these little posters on, and then, like I said, oh clonk, I just kicked something behind me. Like I said, I will then use some varnish to seal the whole model. So I've pressed that onto the Pritt stick, as I call it, though it's not Pritt stick, it is Talentus, whatever that is. And that will now stick to the side. So I've got loads of these to put in. I'm going to just stick them around all over the place, like so, and it will add a little bit of flavour to the model, and hopefully they'll stay stuck. So there we are. So I'm going to sit and do this. I won't film it all because it's going to be very similar to what you're seeing now. There we are, the Pony Express. Yeah, so I'm going to stick a load more of these on, make it really, really attractive and varied, and I'll show what it looks like when it's done, and that will be the last thing that I'm doing, which is pretty exciting, to be honest. Well, there we are, that worked really well, and those glue sticks were brilliant. I really stuck it on nicely. But I was muttering to myself about the fact that there was nothing to say that this was the bunkhouse, and I decided to use some of the stickers that I had for down here, up here, to make it look not quite so odd, because that's the bunkhouse extension. And then I found that there were stickers. There are things to cut out. So I'm going to cut these out and do exactly the same thing, scatter them all over it, and then here we are, we have our Rogan's bar and bunkhouse. So I need to, I believe, put that in there, and yeah, maybe make a few changes to basically I think I need to change that, and then I'll scatter some of the rest of these all over the rest of it. But it's looking really nice. I'm really pleased with it. I have decided that I'm almost certainly going to base this as well, so that's going to add to the length of time before this project is completed. I was thinking this was going to be the last thing, but basically we have the sidewalk, which is separate, and that will just annoy me. I will always want the sidewalk, so I'm going to base it, but more we have the back steps which lead up to the back door, and so yeah, I'm just going to want to have that stuck in place so that it's not moving around. So I am going to base it, which is going to add a little bit of time to it. But hey, it'll be okay. I've got all these little steps as well, so yeah, it's just going to be annoying if I don't. So I'm going to get these stickers done, and then we're going to start looking at basing it. I cut them out and I've stuck most of them on, not all of them, but I'm pretty pleased with how that looks, and I'm really pleased with this building. I mean, it sat untouched for a little bit, which delayed its finishing up to this stage. And now, of course, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick these actually in place, so they're a little bit, so it just is one whole building, which is what I want to do. So I'll just cut a base that is very, very slightly larger than I need. I'm not going to go crazy on this, but as you can see, it is going to make a difference to I need to pull that down to there. It is going to make a difference to how well this looks, and yeah, I think it's worthwhile spending a bit of time getting this done, getting this in place. So yeah, so I'm gonna get that. That'll be the next thing you see of this. But for now, this is good. Apart from I'm going to varnish over the top of these. Just going to matte varnish the outside, but I'll do that. I'll do that off camera and just show what it looks like. So. Yeah, pretty happy with that. That's been a good build, and really wish I'd got more 4Ground stuff. I don't even know if you can get this anymore. I know that a company bought 4Ground's kit, because I bought this in the fire sale when 4Ground went out of business, and I know that apparently a company did, but I'm not entirely sure how reputable and reliable they are. I need to look into it and see if I know anyone who's ordered from them and had success, because this is awesome, and I might be tempted to buy some more. But anyway, there we are, onwards. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to varnish over all of the pictures, posters with my Liquitex acrylic matte varnish. So I'll just pop a little bit of that onto my plate. Give it a good shake. Again, I did shake it before, but let's shake it again. Put a bit onto my plate, and then with my brush, I'll just varnish over the top of each of these, and that will just help to keep them in place and make it less likely that they're going to get knocked or rubbed off when this is being moved around or in game or whatever. So it won't take very long to do this, as you can see, and it will basically going to be the finishing touches on the actual building, and then all I'll have left to do is the base, which I'll do once this is done and dry. So there we are. Pretty cool, pretty happy with this, and glad that I have this matte varnish. I'd forgotten I had it, and then I suddenly saw it, so I was about to order some, and that would have been a big waste, eh? So yeah, I'll get that done over all of the pictures, and bring you back when I come to doing the base. I was trying to work out how I was going to base this. I was thinking about cutting out some of the plywood I've got downstairs, and then I remembered and yeah, I do this a lot. Then I remembered that I have these sheets of MDF, which I bought ages ago, and I'm still working my way through. And I've nearly finished all of the A4 sheets. I've still got tons of A5, but this needs an A4 sheet to fit on it. But it fits on it absolutely perfectly. You can see that it's pretty much flush to the edge. It's probably a little bit flush actually, but that's never mind. I'll cope with that. So what I'm going to do, I am going to trim it slightly. I'm going to curve the corner off here, and I'm going to cover the corner off at the other side as well, just to make it so it's not quite so extensive, and I might even try to come relatively close along and mirror the clearance I've got on this side and that side, and then I'll do some sanding to make it so that it's not quite such a step up, and then stick this on, throw some scatter terrain on it, and it'll be done. So that was really cool to remember I had that, and get that set out, and I think it looks really nice. I think it's going to be good. As per usual on an afternoon, I'm struggling with my lighting, so apologies for the crazy contrast. I have got my blind down, but it doesn't really do much when the sun's this bright. Anyway, I'll get that marked up now with my pencil, and then go and take the jigsaw to it, and then when it's done and I'm ready to start sticking things down, I will bring you along. But this is roughly what I'm going to do, something like this, I think, and then curve that in and then roughly the same on that side. So I'll get that cut and I'll bring it back. Well, there we are. That is spot on. I decided not to do any sanding. It's just going to be raised. It just is what it is. So what I'll do now is I'll use PVA glue to glue all of the parts down into position, including the building, the ground floor of the building. So obviously I can remove that. And yeah, once that's all glued down, I will then use watered down PVA, and I'll bring you along for that, and I'll do the texture, the ground texture around it. Pretty pleased with that, very happy that I remembered I had those 4 things. I did change slightly from what I did when I filmed before. I moved it near to the end so that I could save a little bit of this. This will now be useful, I don't like waste, so I shifted the whole thing down. So this is actually the old end of the board, rather than doing it in the middle, as you can see from that line there. So yeah, let's get some PVA, glue that down. I'm not going to film it, it's pretty obvious, and then leave that overnight, and then tomorrow I'll be able to finish this up. Awesome. Right, this is stuck on completely, as you can see. So what I'm going to do is take that off, because I don't need to be dropping it. I've got the Scrubland base ready, which is what I'm going to use for this, and I'm just going to stick it down using watered down PVA rather than his super sticky stuff, because basically, yeah, it's going to be easier and less expensive. So what I'm going to do is come along and put some watered down PVA along the front, and I'll do this all the way around, but I won't film it all. So I'm going to do what you see here, but on every bit of exposed base that I can see. And then I'm going to get my spoon, which I forgot, grab that out of the desk tidy there, grab some of this, and I've put my paper down so I don't care about it falling off, so I can save it. And that's what we're going to do. Give that a second and then shake it off, and there we are, we have some base. So what I might do actually later on is come back with some super glue and stick some of the larger rocks down. But what I'm going to do first is going to get that first base coat down exactly like that all the way around. And like I said, if I decide to do anything more, I'll bring you back and show you. Well, I've traditionally used huge droppers, which regular viewers will have seen, but I'll just grab one to show you. This is what I've traditionally used when I've been wanting to use droppers, and they're great. They get a lot of stuff in them, but they don't give much control, and yeah, they're a bit annoying, and they do drip quite a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of these. I've bought a whole pack. I think there might be 100 in here. They were vacuum sealed, and they're little droppers. Seem to be a little bit more accurate, and hopefully they're going to work well. I'm not sure how well they'll clean, so that's going to be a learning step. So yeah, so the idea is I'm going to seal all of this, and the reason why I'm using droppers is because I overloaded my scenery on this, as you can see back here, and I want to keep it. I really like how it's kind of piled up. It makes it look a little bit more rough. This is the back of the bar, and so yeah, so I don't want to use a brush, so I'm going to dropper on my ceiling. So what I'm going to do is I've got 99% alcohol here, which is very good for breaking up the surface tension of your glue. So I will dropper that on over the top of my material, like so. Oh, this is so much better, already so much better than the other droppers. There we are. So we'll put some 99% alcohol over here. And then I've got matte Celic sealant from Geek Gaming, so more stuff from Luke, and that's nice and watered down. So I'm going to dropper that over the top, and that runs on really nicely as I've watered or put the alcohol on over the material, and that will lock it nicely in place. So I can get that done over the whole of the base, which won't take very long, as you can see. Let that dry, and then hopefully that's this one done. Having said that, I might actually put some dust and gravel on some of these back steps as well. So yeah, we'll see, and I might do a little bit more weathering, but I'm not sure. But for now, that's probably going to be done. So I'll get this all sealed and locked in place, and I'll bring you back to show what it looks like when that's finished. We're back out on the windowsill drying. It's crazy, it's November and still able to stick things out on the windowsill to dry. But anyway, so that worked, but then it didn't hold down all of the bigger bits, but it held it down enough so that now I've been able to go over with a brush and some proper PVA, watered down PVA, and get that all coated very, very deeply. So I'm going to leave this out here to dry, and then this is going to be pretty much complete.
Well, there we are. Great kit. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Hope you like the outcome. I put a little bit of a touch on it on the base, as you can see. So if you want to take it to a next level, obviously you can. This has been used in games and it looks the part. Absolutely love it. Playing inside is great. And just having it on the table at the top as a centerpiece is also awesome. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment and I'll see you in the next one. And as I always say, please stay healthy, stay safe and stay well.